theme this year is Your Voice Has Power, then I feel very special that I get to use mine to talk with you a little bit about what it's like to be a rape survivor. I'm also going to be bringing awareness to the documentary I Am Evidence, soon to be released on HBO. On October 28, 1987, I was 31, had a husband, was the mother of 2 sons with my third on the way. On that fateful night, I was beaten and raped during a home invasion. Even now, my crime remains unsolved, and for me, there is no justice, there is no conclusion. My husband and I survived for a while after that night, but our marriage soon ended in divorce. My children and I moved back to Indianapolis, where the boys grew into men, and they started families of their own. I can tell you what I've learned about life, and that is, it goes on. After 30 years, you might think that time has healed a lot of my fears and sadness, and honestly, some of this is true, but I still have PTSD. You know, I am equipped with so many coping tools inside of my brain on how to keep control of myself, and most of the time I do a very good job. Yet there is no denying that PTSD, when it's triggered, is a very powerful life experience, and it's an exhausting one. Dolefully, 50% to 95% of rape survivors live with PTSD. Here's a personal example. In February of this year, our hearts were broken again after another school shooting. At first, I seemed to handle my own grief surrounding the news okay. I continued getting ready for work that morning, and it really wasn't until I opened my garage door to leave home that I felt scared and unsafe. Well, that was followed by shortness of breath, and wow, here comes another panic attack. After I arrived at work, I spoke with my supervisor to let her know what I was going through. She has always been very kind and understanding with me. She asked me if I wanted to talk about it, and I told her no, that there was nothing to say. At that moment, in my own mind, the world had gone insane, not the other way around. A short while later, I was going through my purse looking for my phone, and I'd left it at home. So without saying a word, I got up and clocked out and went home missing another day of work. Once I was safely inside of my own home, I set my security alarm, crawled into bed, and slept for the rest of the day. And for what? Because I was traumatized 30 years ago? Because I live with PTSD? Yes, the answer to both of those questions are yes. Over the next few days, as I processed the world in which we live, it became very clear to me that what I was experiencing went way beyond just feeling claustrophobic. It was suffocation. I know this feeling well because I lived through being suffocated during my rape. Let me ask you this, have you ever had the hairs on the back of your neck stand up because you saw something or heard something? Well, when I'm feeling suffocated, this is how I feel. And as a result of that moment, I can't stand the tags on the inside of my shirt, so I end up cutting them off. Now, this is the same shirt that I've worn at least 20 times, and probably even wore it last week, and I had 0 problems. But on this day, I have problems. If I can't get the tag off, I turn my shirt wrong side out and then wear it that way, even in public. One of the most consistent trauma-related habits that I have carried over the last 30 years is that I sleep in my clothes. There is some positive progress in that area for me, and that is I don't do it every single night now. So I'm happy. The majority of the time, I'm able to turn my fears into very positive actions. My hope is that you will understand that it's not just sexual violence that triggers my mind to react this way. I can hear a line from a TV commercial that would raise my anxiety level from 0 to 10,000 in a second. and rarely do I ever know why. It took me well over 20 years to even talk about that appalling night. And then one day, I asked myself for the millionth time the same question: do you really want to live like this for the rest of your life? And instead of thinking myself that I don't really know how to live anywhere way else, I just don't know, I thought to myself, no, I really don't. So I set out to bring change to my life, and I did just that. When I first met Janet Brown with Incasa, it was 2012. She has been the greatest blessing to me, and we have become very close friends. She is someone that has been there for me always. As I continued volunteering with Incasa, I also went through the Core 40 training in 2016 to become a certified sexual assault advocate myself. Everyone out there that has experienced trauma in their lives, well, they need someone at some point. It doesn't mean that everyone has someone or that they are even ready for you. There are just so many men and women, boys and girls, that face sexual assault in their own lives, and they do it all alone. So if someone would disclose to you a traumatic experience they have had in their life, recently or not, tell them, I believe you. Tell them, it took a lot of courage for you to tell me. Tell them you are not alone. Your support of a loved one who has experienced sexual violence may be a critical step in their healing journey. Regrettably, my rapist was never apprehended, and all of the evidence, his DNA, and my rape kit no longer exists. You are looking at the only evidence that remains in my case, me. The documentary, I Am Evidence, explores the shocking way the sexual assault cases have been historically processed in our nation. Mariska and the Joyful Heart Foundation has brought to the forefront these moving stories of real survivors. This documentary centers on survivors who recount their experiences with sexual assault and the years they waited for justice. Now this was where we were going to watch the trailer. But since they don't have the internet, I'm going to do it so that you can at least hear it.
Someone touches you, you tell. They did a rape kit on me.
Can you hear it?
At the bottom.
Stunning news today about the number of rape cases police have never even tried to solve.
I have no clue. People stop having babies.
Rape kits.
I will test it.
Never opened, never tested.
I was shocked. There was just rats in an abandoned warehouse with windows open and birds flying around.
I can understand one city being negligent, but a nation?
When you find out that you have thousands of kits, what do you do?
We had to bring justice to these victims.
The rape kit backlog is the most shocking demonstration of how we regard these crimes.
There were rapists who were not caught.
I can't understand what was so unimportant about me.
What were you wearing that particular morning?
What they see doesn't look like a real victim. Violence against women is a low priority. All of these kits should be tested.
There are rape kits that haven't been processed across this nation.
And those kids start getting results every day. We get another 20 to 30 hits.
Over 700 identified serial rapers. Just in one city, in one county, in one state.
Of course we made mistakes. We didn't realize potential.
You can't change or fix what happened to one person. What you can change is what might happen to someone else.
When you get that list of names and it just scrolls down and it doesn't stop, this is something where we can't rest.
You don't tell me what I can and can't do. It's all it takes is focus, dedication, and commitment. The system should be more accountable.
I am evidence that this is not just a kit, this is a person.
It actually premieres on HBO on April 17th, and it is very, very, very well worth your watch. And none of us should rest either. I mean, the truth is that on December 1st, 2017, the Indiana State Police audit found 5,396 untested kits, placing Indiana's backlog as the 10th largest in the nation. Over 2,800 kits have reasoning behind why they aren't tested, such as, she hasn't reported her crime yet, he pled guilty, or the case has gone through the court system and it's held onto for the appeal process. State officials are not clear why the remaining 2,500 plus kits are not tested, but according to Senator Michael Kreider, the cost to process each kit is from $750 to $1,250. I am currently speaking with the Indiana House of Representatives Sue Arrington in District 34 on a few things, and she is certainly restoring my hope that our lawmakers do understand that each kit represents a life. We must stop letting victims down. Behind every kit is a real person, and in front of every kit is the next real victim. So just maybe they wouldn't necessarily become a victim if the kit was tested and he was removed from the streets. In the last couple of years, we have witnessed a shift in rape culture that is moving survivors out of the shadows. To spotlight 2017 in Time's Person of the Year, it was the silence breakers. Most of us have heard of Me Too, No More, Time's Up, In the Backlog, and the list goes on. Before I close with you this evening, I must thank Kathy and her outstanding SA team for all of their hard work and their endless love and kindness over the past 41 years. I'm so proud of all of you and what you have done for your communities and beyond. There is a special place in our hearts for all of you. I wish you so much love and light on your next journeys. And Kathy Dwyer, you are irreplaceable to me. I love you. My closing words are from Mother Teresa. Kind words are short and easy to speak, but their echoes are endless. Remember, your voice has power. Thank you.